give it to us straight. Like, what is this short film about?
I just got mine fucked.
In my eyes, it's not perfect.
We're almost done without getting the reference in.
People are saying that the new Top Gun is better than the first.
If that doesn't sum up this movie episode for you, I don't know what does.
Let's party. There's always a party. Let's go, Paul. Hey,
Let's go. How we doing out there? Partiers, baby.
feeling good. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, you see we have another in-studio guest. We have, check this out, Paul. Award winner, filmmaker, Matthew Mayer. Let's give it up for him.
Clap it
Welcome
up,
to
clap
the
it
studio.
up. In the studio,
Thanks.
it's lively today.
It is lively.
We've had a good, very artistic presence in the studio. I'm feeling good.
For all of you who don't know Matt, he actually designed our logo. So he forever has a place on that couch, just like G in our last week.
Let's go.
Forever has a place on that couch.
Let's
So
go.
How's it feel to be on that couch? First of all, what are you straight off the beach?
Yeah.
He's looking good.
I figured, life's a party. I
Gotta
should
get it-
show up looking like life's a party.
You gotta dress the part. You gotta
I was
feel
thinking
the part.
today, I was like, what should I wear?
He's got sunglasses. It is 9 o'clock at night. The sun is no longer
I don't have a
up.
watch.
He's looking good. Honestly, if you're just feeling the vibe, you don't need to know what time it is. You just live in the moment, right?
I hope you're watching this
All right.
at 2 o'clock in the afternoon
Well,
on the
wherever-
beach.
Well, hope maybe on the beach having a cold one. So before we get into why you're here to promote something very important, Paul's cracking a beer. What were you guys? They were like chit chatting before the episode. What were you guys laughing up about
We were, we're both
that I
movie-
wasn't included in?
We're both movie people.
Well,
Matt
I'm a
and I.
movie. I'm a movie person.
Yeah, but we're film people.
You're
you
also
know,
a
like,
Disney guy.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and we were just talking about movies. And if you've ever been to you're a Cinemark guy though.
I am a Cinemark guy.
But we were talking about AMC. Have you been to an AMC movie theater lately?
No, what happened?
Okay, so AMC, if you don't know, has a pre-show. You go through all the trailers, and you got a pre-show, and it's Nicole Kidman, very famous actress.
Yes.
Very well done commercial for AMC. Basically, it's like their pre-show. I wonder how much it cost because it looks amazing, but it's just really funny. It became like this weird like joke in the community, and like I said, there was a TikTok recently I saw where a guy was doing like he was doing an outdoor movie at his house, and he had like 10 people who showed up. Well, he gave out cards of Nicole Kidman, like her speech throughout the commercial, and people like recited it in like almost like a prayer before they watched this movie.
Was it designed to be funny like that?
No,
No, not at
So
all.
it was just a flop that turned out to be successful.
it's something where Matt was talking about where like it's basically a commercial for AMC while you're at AMC.
Yeah, I was telling Paul, I find it very disrespectful. Like, you're wasting my time. Like, I paid to come watch the movie. Why?
Yeah, I'm here.
Why? I compared it to like being at a sporting event. It's like, why am I watching an advertisement for the Wells Fargo Center when I'm at the Wells Fargo Center?
Exactly. Like it makes no sense.
You already
It's
won.
just-
I'm here.
Well, that's what you talk about with the rewards program they used to have, where it was like, hey, if you turn your phone off for X amount of hours or 2 hours the movie is, you get a free popcorn, but you got to use it in a week. That's almost the same thing as what that is advertising while you're in the seat.
But that's a good deal though. Like, you get nothing out of
That's
Nicole
true. It's just
Kidman.
wasting
That's
your
true.
time.
I like
Nicole
Nicole Kidman. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Eyes Wide Shut is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't need to watch her on the screen tell me that I'm at AMC movie theaters. Like, I just don't.
I saw this was when I think Spider-Man No Way Home came out in December. There was a guy who printed out like 100 copies of her speech and was in the theater and like put them on the seats prior to like everyone coming in.
What?
And I just saw like it was on Twitter. It was like, dude, no way I just got handed this like in the theater, and it's literally her whole speech from the like little commercial.
I'm going to have to look that up. and
Oh,
look at
it's
it.
classic.
Well, I was
dude.
telling you that people, because I just graduated from film school, and people in film school, like, I don't want to say mock it, but like they'll like dissect it and make like YouTube videos like completely going like frame by frame.
What's one of the worst films you had to dissect?
Don't
Or like, was it a commercial? You do commercials?
do commercials.
Just strictly movies? What is your assignments like in film school? It's like, hey, watch this movie.
Yeah, generally, I feel like it depends on the class. So I took a couple different styles of classes. So you have like your introduction to cinema studies,
Right.
which is just a general like overview. And then there was another set of courses, and this all goes school by school, but my school in particular there was film history A and B that broke down like from like the start of film all the way up to like 1960 for part A, and then from 1960 on for part
So
B.
the history of film.
Yeah, and generally you should take them one a semester. I took them both in the same semester. I'm like,
Yeah, he's like,
get this
fuck
all-
it, give me
yeah.
all at
Like,
once.
just
Yeah.
give me the history, baby.
yeah, but I got.
Let me get this shit out of the way. I gotta. George Washington was in the movie theater watching this one.
Yeah.
But I took like a class strictly on Stanley Kubrick this past semester.
Oh.
The previous semester I did one strictly on black cinema.
Do you get to pick that?
Or
You
are they
can pick the
requirements?
course, but they will pick what the topic is that semester. So like the authorship courses, which happen to be Kubrick for me, like has been I'm trying to think of who it's been in the past. A lot of like older directors. I'm sure
Tarantino.
that they'll do one on Tarantino.
Yeah. I did one of the worst classes I ever took. It was it's called Romanian film, or it was called contemporary film. Okay, that's
Very
pretty
broad.
pretty
Yeah.
broad. And I get there, it's like Romanian film. Literally, dude. So the whole point of the film is that there is no story.
Huh.
Like it's like American film is so different than a lot of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Of like even like like Europe, like the filmmaking style is very, very different. And this, for example, like there's no plot. So it's like you basically just like watch something happen like as it happens. Like for example, the film that I watched was a girl who got like lost in a city, but there's like no conclusion. Like she doesn't get home safe. Like she doesn't like
Sarah is still lost. Hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed the film.
like nobody takes her. She's
There will
just,
be
like,
no sequel where Sarah gets found.
It's I watched just 2 hours of this girl like roam the city, and I'm like, what is this?
Buy something, get hit
a
by
lot
a
of
train.
European films are like that.
Yeah, like-
Very like loose. Not a whole lot of editing. Long
Yeah,
long
like,
takes.
no editing,
long
yeah.
takes are
Well, the
very
only
prominent.
real international film that I watched was Parasite. Talk about a gory ending film.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all international films like that. It takes a lot for me to first of all to read captions for a movie
Yeah.
or subtitles. Do you like international movies?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you think they're
So
even
film-
better in
the
United
film-
States movies? Sometimes.
yeah, a lot. I think the problem is that like a lot of, and myself included, like I think we as Americans tend to just forget
Stereotype.
that there's other countries that
Oh,
make
100%.
film.
100%.
Like we're so like drawn to like the Marvel movies, for instance,
Right.
but then we forget like how good like the cinema in other countries is. Like there's this Iranian movie. So the film history class I was mentioning, like a lot of it is based off of different countries. So like each week you'll go to like a
Dope.
different country. One of the best movies I watched in that class was an Iranian movie called A Separation. I was telling this to someone the other day. I forget what the movie's about, to be completely honest. I just
favorite
remember.
movie doesn't know what the movie is. This Iranian
just-
guy was in the city. He got lost. You found Sarah.
I just
Sarah.
remember it being like so good, and like the ending was just like conclusive. You know,
Yeah.
there was a conclusive state to the
Is
film,
it-
but
Is it really different? Like if you were to like say like a blind taste test, or like I do like a blind visual test of the movies.
yeah,
I'd be like, oh, this is not an American movie. Like, what are some of the elements in the international movies where it's like, this is an American?
yeah. So I mean, so I was saying like with European movies, a lot of them are like loose editing.
Yeah, the style
long
different, right?
Like
takes.
a lot of one takes.
A lot of one takes, like a lot of like the like Jean-Luc Godard is like a French filmmaker from like the 60s. A lot of his stuff is all like long takes, and like you could either love that or absolutely hate that. And I feel like that's one thing where like people will be driven to those films or just completely like not want to watch them because they're such a drag.
I feel like some of the most famous scenes that I feel like I've heard about in movies are the one take ones.
Yeah.
Well,
Where
yeah,
it's- I
like-
love watching the one take films where they're shooting the film, but then you get like a third party angle to see like how the people run in, like the stage crew, and like
Oh.
move the set around, and then it's like, oh, the camera's guy's moving here, this guy, the director's moving, these guys get out of the way, and there's like so much fucking going on. I think that's the most interesting part of watching how a film is made.
So
There's-
yeah,
oh.
one of the crew on my film, some of the guys, just did a film right before mine, where it was exclusively like a one take film, and like
Yeah.
it was like a 20-minute one take film. They spent like I think they spent like 4 days rehearsing just the blocking, and like the lighting setups and everything like that. 4 days just to do
yeah.
a 20-minute long take.
So you do one take, but then Is it almost like you take different parts of that one take?
No, so
no,
like
it's just a flat out one take.
so like that's the point of it, right? That's like the art. And there's a lot of films that do that, and there's particularly I'm thinking of two videos that I've seen on TikTok or like Twitter that went viral. One was like an interrogation or not an interrogation scene, but like very close where you have one woman and then she's interviewing like three different people. And the whole idea is like they're in different chairs and she's going through like different questions, but you're seeing each different person's point of view. And like you pull out and you see how she doesn't move and how the camera's moving in correlation with the three actors in the scene. And it's like, it's just
I've
so
seen
cool.
that.
Like it's supposed to be different days.
Yeah.
And they're changing clothes and it's like, this is so crazy. And then there's one too where it's like a woman and she's going through like a breakup or something. And it's like her house throughout the course of the week. And you see like, or a couple years, and you see like her go through a storm. She breaks down like a wall with a hammer. Her couches change. Like everything changes. And you just hear the director and they're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're seeing like they go to the TV a little bit and they get this news thing in. So, you know, the camera can kind of move around. It
But
goes
that
towards
shot has to go perfect with the sound
every
of the
time,
TV.
everything. Yeah.
I saw
I've seen that. I think I know exactly the clip you're talking. It's insane. We gotta show him that after because that clip is absolutely mind-boggling how it is.
I saw a TikTok channel, or I guess a TikTok page, where it's a guy. I think his ad is like cinematic mistakes,
Okay.
and he points out. I guess he just sits there and watches movies all day, but he points out mistakes that are made in cinematic. In movies. And it's like, I think the one I saw was where there was a camera view this way and the girl's facing front ways. And the guy, they're getting the shot of the girl, but the guy is a little bit in the frame and his mouth is moving, but words aren't coming out. And you kind of, like, some of that stuff you bypass, but I'm sure as, like, being a movie guy or, like, have aspirations to be a director, that shit must drive you nuts. So I probably don't encourage you to go look at that page.
I think it depends because like I was watching Goodfellas the other night.
Great movie.
And
R.I.P.
Martin, Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
But Martin Scorsese like is known as a director to like not give a shit about continuity.
Okay.
So like watching Goodfellas for the first time in a while, I was watching a lot of the continuity errors that obviously he didn't give a shit about. Like there's a lot of moments where like Bob De Niro's talking to the Marty Wiggs guy and you know 1 second he'll have like the phone up to his ear, but then in like the reverse shot like he will have it down. And it's like that like constantly. I think it really comes down to like his like the continuity isn't what's the key, it's more the performance like because they'll do so many takes of it that like it's always about finding whatever it is like the best.
I also think what makes Tarantino so great and all those like top tier directors is like they actually really don't give a fuck. Like they don't give a fuck how long their movie is. Irishman was what, 7 hours?
Well, the whole point
it's like they're gonna go their style. It's just they're unique. That's why they're authentic. They're gonna direct a movie how they want to direct it. Well, not what's working in the mainstream world.
Well, at the end of the day, they're there to tell a good story and compelling story, and like that's the point of a filmmaker. A lot of times you're working around constraints. Like that's like a running time, right? Like no matter what you do, you can't make a 7-hour movie because people just don't want to sit through it. But I mean, Netflix has kind of gone around it and like they're making 8-hour movies that you could just sit there and watch.
I heard Stranger Things, each episode's like over an hour and a half.
They are. There's ridiculous. The last episode, because they split it into 2 parts, the last episode, like episode 9 is like 2.5 hours. Like you just have a fucking movie at the end of your series. Like that's insane. But from a continuity perspective, like doesn't that take you out of the film? Like to me, that boggles the shit out of me.
I think it depends on the situation and also like the perspective of like how you go in watching it. Like if you're the type of person who's like mentally, which I'm very much this way a lot, and it sucks like watching movies because like it's hard to watch them for like an entertainment value rather than me just being like, oh, like the cinematography is like trash here, or like
Dude.
Why the fuck did they pick this performance? Like why didn't they direct this actor or actress to do it a different, like that boggles me. And like I tried telling my cousins that when I like saw Uncut Gems the first time I saw it, I honestly like really did not like Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he
but then like the second time I watched it, like I feel like movies like the first time you watch them is very much like just trying to grasp everything.
Yeah.
And that's where it can be very easy to like fall into like, oh wow, that was like a very like noticeable like jarring cut, or that there's a continuity, you know, like things like that. Whereas like the second time I feel like that's past you, you might still notice it, but it's like, all right, well, I've already seen it. I already know what to expect.
You know the
Now
story.
it's just
and
more
it's
like, I just want to be entertained by it.
Is there ever a time where you're like, I can't take this anymore and get up and leave the theater?
have you ever left a movie theater?
I have. I
'Cause I
left
have-
I
Nacho
don't think
Libre.
I don't think that I
Nacho
have.
Libre. Don't go say it. I left and got up and
Well,
left the Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre?
Nacho Libre. Yeah, don't fucking say it.
I
Got
don't
up
think
and
I've
left.
ever left the theater.
I've left. I was like 12. I saw Robin Hood with.
Oh, I heard that was
I don't know what.
trash.
I forget his name. But I remember being with two friends, and we were like halfway through, and they were like, "Yeah, this blows. Can we leave?" And I'm like, "Sure, I don't really care."
Do you watch
Yeah.
movies based off of directors, actors, actresses, the genre? I mean, I think we're gonna get to these questions later.
Yeah,
but
I think
just-
it depends on like where I'm at, like in that moment of time. Like, I guess like around the time like I did like your guys' logo, I was in a
Thank you for
very
that.
like I want to watch like all of
Life's a party all day.
David Fincher's films. Yeah,
Hey,
David
if we,
Fincher was
if we
like-
inspire you to fucking watch David Fincher, I don't know wherever the fuck that is. You're welcome.
yeah. David Fincher did Seven, The Social Network, Girl with the Dragon
Oh,
Tattoo,
Social Network, good
Panic
movie.
Room.
Social Network's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I rewatched it again like a couple nights ago. Just
Even my short film. Well, I want to get to your short
Yeah.
film. My short film, literally the score, we based it off of Social Network.
So I went. The reason I watched The Social Network again is because Nine Inch Nails were in town, couple like last week or so at the Met, 2 nights at the Met, and me and my cousin Josh went to go see them.
Dope.
Cause like there's something about like people who like have earned award. I don't
Who's
want
Nine
to.
Inch Nails? I don't know who that is.
It's a band from the '90s. So the
Gotcha.
guys from Nine Inch Nails, specifically Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, they did the scores for The Social Network and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Bird Box,
Shit.
Watchmen,
Oh, dope. Yeah.
Soul, the Pixar movie Soul. They got the Oscar
So they did
for
the
that.
score
You
for.
can see how they.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that? They mean in dumb terms. So they do like the lights, the sound.
Yeah.
The,
So score is basically the underlying music
fuck?
of the film.
why am I here? Oh my God.
You had your music stuff
Yeah.
last week. You had your music stuff. It was a film
Yeah.
show. It's film.
Yeah.
But no, score
I'm
is
gonna
like,
be in movies one day.
your underlying music, right? Like, so let's break it out here. One of the most famous composers of all time, John Williams. John Williams did Jurassic Park, Star Wars,
Jaws.
Like he did all that like very famous music that you associate the film
Like,
with,
dun-dun, dun-dun,
right?
dun-dun,
That's
dun-dun.
him.
That's a score.
So then you're looking at like these guys who are doing The Social Network has this very like techie,
yeah.
not like apocalypse, like dystopian
Yeah.
future like vibe, like these beats to it. Even and Soul's the same way.
I still haven't seen
So
Soul.
score is just sound.
but
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
it's like the underlining music to the scenes.
yeah, just strictly like the music.
He's saying dystopia.
But
what
there's
the
also
fuck does
like
that mean?
there's also like
20-point
got-
travel
you
word
got-
right there.
You got Utopia, which is the-
Zootopia, great movie. That's a fucking great
It's
movie.
great, yeah,
I love that. That's
absolutely.
one of my favorite animated movies.
But like you have your
Yeah.
difference between score and soundtrack. So like a movie like only because I just took like a Kubrick class, like Full Metal Jacket is one of a million movies that have a score and a soundtrack, where like your score is just like the instrumental
Yeah.
portion, and then your soundtrack is where you bring in songs like "Paint It Black" by Rolling Stones.
So you
and-
went and visited these guys.
I just went to their concert.
He visited
Yeah.
them. Visited
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
I would love to
Here to
meet,
visit.
yeah.
I have a scheduled visit.
But like they like play like they don't play any of like their score work. They did open up to one of the Gone Girl score tracks. But then they play like their like industrial like rock music.
Nice.
All right,
So-
so let's talk about your short.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
What are we talking?
we're talking about his film that we're going to talk about. The short.
Yes.
It's called The Gift.
Yeah.
It won Best Sound at Hofstra Film Festival, as well as finished third, Paul, overall as a thesis film. So congratulations on that, Matt. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Clap it up,
Thank
baby.
you.
Great accomplishment.
Thanks.
All right, let's keep it down out there.
You got a good crowd.
They don't
for
clap. They don't clap like that for me.
You. No.
Is Hofstra known as more of a film school? Is that why you chose it in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know if they're like known as a film school, but rather their film school is known, if that makes sense. Like
I just got mind fucked.
No, I see that.
Like,
I can see that. Yeah.
like I mean NYU is I feel like NYU Hofstra's like up there. I wouldn't say that they're like top 10, but they are Variety rated them top 30
Dope.
best film schools in North
Nice,
America. But like USC, UCLA, NYU, like they're the top 3. Like I was gonna transfer out of Hofstra like right when the pandemic started, but I was kind of late to like the deadlines and stuff. But
So you just finished this film, and you plan on submitting it into a couple festivals,
yeah, I'm still not sure what festivals yet, but
but no one can see it yet. We got like a
yeah, I send you guys the link.
Nice. We got the
Yeah.
inside.
Only
G
a
gave us
50%.
some unreleased music last week. We got an unreleased film this week.
Yeah, no, it's there's still a couple things like today. I just sent it off to get recolored.
Okay, dope.
I want the score to be redone because the guy who's doing it is from like Sweden or Finland or
How does
Iceland.
that work? Like, how do you get in touch with that guy?
The DP of my film, this guy Seth Herzog, worked with this composer on one of his previous films. So
Nice.
he was like, when we were on set, he was like, "Hey, like this is a potential guy. If you want to use him, like here's some of his tracks." And we got in touch, and initially when I was like editing the film for the Hofstra Festival, he was like in the middle of working on some other film.
Yeah.
So he was like, I can't do anything, but I was like, can you at least send me temp tracks? Like anything you've done before that you think relates to the film? Cause he had seen it. And, he sent me 3 tracks and I thought that they like fit really well, but I still would like to get it done more so that it is for my film. Like I
Yeah.
don't want a
So
track
can
that
he
just
can he
happens
touch
to
up
fit.
those temp tracks?
He could if he wanted to. Yeah.
That's sort of what you want him to do.
I think he's going to completely like redo
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah.
So last week we actually talked about temp tracks.
Okay.
I was kind of giving Ryan like the rundown of
Yeah.
it. Like, you know, I gotta tell you the film stuff. I gotta tell you the
I
film
don't,
stuff.
even
That's where
remember, I don't
that
even remember that.
we literally we talked about how G was looking at making songs for films, right? And I was like, well, you know, if he's got to make a film or he's got to make a song sound like some artist, they're like, hey, I want to make you make a song for this club, but we want it to sound like Chris Brown, right? For
Yeah.
example, same idea where he goes, hey, I have this chase scene that I really like, something very similar to say Fast and Furious. But like, hey, can you make something close to this? Or like, I'll just use a temp track from literally Fast and Furious as somebody is composing it and trying to put it together.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I
but-
used Interstellar as my temp
Dope.
score.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that,
amazing.
I mean, like even just like
Dope.
the plot of Interstellar and like the purpose of what that music is supposed to represent, which is like longing and like relationship and time, specifically time. Those tracks like just fit so well, and I was almost like I wish like I could steal Hans Zimmer's score, but I
well, he's Hans Zimmer. You know?
Hans Zimmer he did the I didn't realize he did the score for Top Gun until I was at the movie.
Oh, really? I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
and he did Dune, which won an
Well, I
Academy
knew-
Award.
yeah, I knew
Dune
he did
is
Dune.
I think the score in Dune is amazing.
It's good.
Well,
Yeah.
what was your budget on this short film?
All right, so I wanted it to be when I was pricing it out. So I'll go back to the beginning. I first started writing this movie when I did Your Eyes' logo. So that's how long it's been like me like developing like
2
this
years
story.
basically.
Yeah. And the story that came from just rewatching The Wizard of Oz. And then from over time, like it started off as like a concept of like the two sisters and their relationship. But then going back to what you're talking about, so like when I first started like breaking down and writing the script, like I was
Yeah.
expecting it to be, I was like, let me see if I can make something for like $8,000.
Right.
And then like when you start to like add in like all the prices and stuff, you're like,
Yeah.
that's just not gonna
That shit
happen.
happens to us.
Yeah.
We have this mindset of this sad. It's like, oh, we gotta put no money out here. We gotta put money
Uh-huh.
out here. Shit's adding up.
It
Shit
adds
comes
up.
from all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows you too. I mean, I was also in film school.
Yeah.
And I also had to make student films.
You didn't win an award though.
I did not. I mean, I did not. That's very true.
You did not finish first place.
But it just shows you. I mean, I remember how expensive that shit is.
It's expensive
And
as hell.
like
Yeah.
putting films together, especially as a student. You know, a lot of times you're doing favors for people because
Yeah.
it's like, hey, like I'll help you on your film, you help me on mine. Definitely talking about you know, I think more than really most industries, how important connections are.
Yeah.
Right. Like I found my score from it was an NYU. My senior thesis. It was an NYU grad student who I found through like my professor. I was like, hey, like they're looking. These guys want to get. And that's what's nice about, you know, growing in the industry is a lot of people are looking just to grow their craft
Yeah.
and like
Their
learn. It's like
portfolio. Their
Yeah,
resume.
exactly. And it's like if I can do something for you, you can do something for me. But you still do like you got to pay for food,
Yeah.
which people don't think about. Actors travel. luckily you get someone local, so it's like I don't got to put them in a hotel.
Yeah.
Or like
Well, I was gonna say, lucky for you, you shot like one place, right? It was like
We
almost
shot
like an
one
abandoned
place.
house.
Yeah, it was
How'd you get
supposed to
that?
be Airbnb, fortunately, which like
a lot of people do that.
Airbnb is a great resource, but it's also I found it extremely hard to find someone who is willing to let us bring in like that many people because the crew
How
ended
long
up
did you want it for?
4 days.
Oh.
Well, actually longer than that because we came in a day early, got ready for set.
Was it in local, like around Jersey? So you had to,
In
like, stay over?
Jersey,
Okay.
off exit 8 on the New Jersey Turnpike.
So not a
in
bad
East
driver. You had to
Windsor.
like stay over around there.
So coming from Hofstra, we were about like an hour and a half away. So we stayed over. So like
Gotcha.
we had a crew of about maybe 20 people with talent. My parents drove from here to set every day, which was about an hour. They did like the catering and stuff.
That's where your parents in the movie,
yeah.
in the film.
No, dude, my mom did the same thing. I had like a bunch of people, and we had breakfast. My
Yeah.
mom brought lunch, and then we went back to my house for dinner. And it was like, if your parents can provide food for the cast and crew, it's like
huge.
amazing.
That's why we get producer
Yeah.
Drew McDonald gift cards.
That's true. Yep.
Keeps them coming back.
Yeah.
I brought some donuts today. Keep feeding them. This is what we gotta keep doing.
But yeah, I mean, it adds up. Like, I mean, the actors alone were expensive as shit.
They're really good actors.
Were they
Thank you.
union?
No. So, all right. So they were non-union because I didn't want to deal with the whole SAG
That's a
thing.
lot
So
of
for like
shit,
people
yeah.
who like don't know, like a lot, like almost everyone in like the industry, like everyone you're seeing on a movie screen when you go to the theater is all a SAG actor or actress.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Which just means that they're union.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So
Okay, what's SAG stand for?
yeah.
Simple as can be. Anyway,
Screen
proceed.
Actors Guild.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want
So
to.
it's
But
like a
there's different
union.
unions.
I wanted to make the
but-
director look good.
Yes.
Yeah. But I wanted to avoid that because there's a lot of paperwork, like
Yeah.
like there's a lot of like rigorous paperwork, and there's like fees and stuff, and you have to get the paperwork in on time, and if you don't, they fine you. Like it ends up being a lot that like if you don't have a producer who completely 100% understands how to go about that, then it's not worth trying on a film that already has so many moving parts.
Yeah.
So the problem with the film, so you guys saw it, so like there's different generations of twins throughout the film.
Yes.
So the problem with casting, which me and my producer Justin did, was like
Lookalikes.
it's hard as shit to find people who are, because you have to find it almost starts off where you have to find like one person who you want to, that's like your central character, and then you have to match them across with their twin, and then kind of work your way down or up.
Hey, my girlfriend's a twin. You could have just shot me a text.
I'm a twin too.
I know. I was
wasn't-
about to say he's
Yeah, but he's a guy.
Still
That's
doesn't
fair.
matter. He's still a twin.
Would you
Yeah.
ever? I was gonna. Well, Stan Lee was he a movie director? Stan Lee.
He was the creator.
No, he
of
was
Star
a
Wars.
writer.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to be in your own films? How come people don't do that more often?
Tarantino does it.
Does he?
Yeah.
Dude, the guys who directed Avengers, Endgame, and Infinity War. I don't know which
Russo
one. Yeah, the
brothers?
Russo brothers. One of them. He's in like 3 Marvel movies.
Huh.
He's like in the back, and like he was like a doctor in one scene,
Yeah.
Winter Soldier and stuff. And it's always like fun to see them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And as a director, I know my short. I did one where I was like the bartender. You just saw my back.
Yeah.
But like as a director, I think it's just fun. you
Yeah,
know?
I think it's just more of like
Yeah.
but I also think it depends on like the vibe of the movie. Like a lot
100%.
of movies that are like fun movies
That's
will
what I was gonna
incorporate
talk
that
about.
aspects. But like
You got the creepy vibe. I
Yeah.
put it on. I was
Yeah.
immediately scared.
all right, yeah,
I was like,
gonna
I gotta
say,
watch this when it's daylight out.
so what
I'm not a
was-
scary movie. I'm scared of scary movies.
So wait, did you interpret it as a scary movie?
Yes, I'm a bitch.
Well, how did you interpret it? Because a lot of people like even all right. So the older actress from the movie was I don't know how many of you guys have seen The Exorcist, like the original Exorcist.
I haven't.
She in The Exorcist, there's a face that pops up on screen, like it flashes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
She is that face, but
That's
she
crazy.
also is the body double, and is in a lot of scenes that Linda Blair, who played Reagan, the little girl in The Exorcist, she played like I guess we'll call like the second half of Reagan.
Okay.
Because there's
She's
like
scary
portions
as
of-
fuck. So it's a good
Yeah.
job
So,
for her.
so before we get too far down this rabbit
Yeah.
hole, can you give
Sorry.
us like a little, what's your log line of this
Yeah.
movie? Like, give it to us straight. Like, what is this short film about?
Yeah, so I always fail at the log lines. I have one written, but I don't memorize it. Terrible. So the
I
story is
always
about
memorize the lines.
a woman with dementia who is a twin, but her sister has passed. but then her sister suddenly comes to visit her, and when she does come to visit her, she's able to recollect the time where they tried to fix their relationship, which was already pretty broken. Um, but then in the event of that, like trying to rekindle it, they like just have like a complete falling apart, which leads up to the sister's death.
I think you're like your symbolism in the film. I'm not one to critique films, but I thought you had a lot of great symbolism in the
Thank you.
movie. The full circle. I'm always a full circle guy.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
great
like
full circle.
yeah, the short films are hard because I feel like
'Cause you
there's
gotta
two
get there in a
different
short
ways
amount
to
of time.
approach them. Yeah, like a lot of times they're very open ended.
Yeah.
Which is a very good way to approach a short film because then it obviously like leads the audience hanging on. Whereas like if you go to a feature film and you're leaving the audience like hanging on too much, then it's like
What was the
I
point
don't
of that?
think
2
yeah,
hours.
you're all to just lead you into the like now. Like I want the story. If you want to do something else, then so be it. But like
Well, you get the free popcorn the second time you come.
that's
back.
true. That's true. But the approach that I wanted to go from the beginning was the complete story. Like I wanted you to feel like a breath of fresh air like after life. I didn't want you to be like still like what's next? And now it's like you just cut the black. Like
Yeah.
I wanted something that
I think you did
made you
a
feel
good
complete.
job like creating substance in it.
Thank you.
'Cause sometimes if you think of like a short film, it's like 10, 12 minutes. Well, how long is this one? 13 minutes or something?
It ends up being like 14:30ish, and then plus credits.
But it doesn't feel like that. Like it almost feels like you're getting so much in that short amount of time where it holds so much substance. So I think you did a good job.
Thank
with
you.
that.
It's I didn't realize it won for sound design because that's something I always pay attention to,
Yeah.
and I think from a student perspective can really, make or break films.
That and
short
coloring.
films.
That and coloring. Coloring a lot of times for whatever reason, a lot of student films like they'll just leave them like uncolored and raw, which like raw just means like it's like a really like gray picture.
Why
And
you
it's
turn
just
to me
it's
for
so
that?
like I'm sorry, it's so shitty looking. Like
Well, fucking raw means Ryan.
We gotta make sure you're caught up with the
Even the
film
audience, even the
terminology,
audience,
man.
yeah.
Just want to make sure I was still awake over here. So this is called a film.
No, but I think I agree with you. Sound, coloring, and even like scoring. Like if you get
Yeah.
someone to, which isn't sound, but like your sound design of, so I don't. Going back to your question, I didn't think it was a scary film, but when she woke up, there was like a scene where she like woke up from almost a nightmare, and you had the birds
Yeah.
and this like, it was like glass shattering, almost like crack. I like jumped a little bit. And it made me think, I was like, okay, like that, like sound design wise. And I was paying attention to the birds and even when it opens, I think the sound design, that first couple shots when you're kind of feeling out the area and you're like establishing where you are,
Yeah.
I think does a really good job. And it's interesting that you said you kind of got an idea from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And that just like that open area plain of
Yeah.
like Kansas where she was. Well, not in this film,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah,
like
yeah,
in The
yeah,
Wizard
yeah.
of Oz, that openness of the field.
Yeah, I
I-
mean, the original idea was going to be like the thing that would have brought her memory back was going to be a tornado because like the original script that I wrote was like literally like based off of like The Wizard of Oz, like the characters, the stuff that happens in it, like the Easter eggs that were in the original script were based off of like the original like book, like The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. But then over time, a lot of like copyright issues like kind of came to mind. So I was like, well, let me best avoid that because like I don't want like Warner Brothers to come and like sue me in the ass. So and over time, like I think the story like really developed into something like the whole like gift idea was not a part of the original story. Like a photograph was not like the symbol of the film like until only like maybe December when it was like Christmas time. And that's where I was like, oh, Christmas. Like,
So
that's like,
so you asked us what genre we thought it was.
yeah.
What is it?
I think it's more drama. I definitely like the horror aspect wasn't like I don't want to say it wasn't intentional. Like I don't want people to be like scared of the movie, but
Well, I'm
in
a
that
bitch, so you
like,
can't use me as an example.
But like in that moment, like this is a woman with dementia.
It gives like a
she needs
haunting
to be
feeling.
like scared because like she doesn't know what the hell's going on. So I like that moment gives off some type of eeriness, especially after like the moment that leads into that is like this dream sequence, like where it's like very Super 8 style cinematography, and that alone like is very like reminiscent of like old memories and like very eerie and like haunting like
Yeah.
feel.
Is this the genre you kind of want to stay in the drama horror
Yeah,
realm?
I think so. I just think like dramas themselves like are like for me at least like the most like emotionally like moving. I think I mean that's why it is a drama. Like
Yeah.
horror. I was like into horror when I was younger. I just think like
Because I
the
remember I watched
cliches of horror.
your previous film. Was that from high school? No, earlier in your college.
I did two
It was
films
the,
prior to
Yeah,
this.
the photography one, right?
That one was the first one I did. That one I guess you could say is like very like almost like suspenseful, like
It is
somewhat
yeah.
Scary as
horror.
fuck. Once again, not
But
good
then the
for
one
a
after
bitch.
that was
Yeah, more suspense.
yeah, but then the one after that was like a drama. The drummer one. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I have some here. I took notes here.
Okay, cool.
You didn't have any dialogue till about 4 minutes in. Was that designed
For this film?
for this one? Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, cuz so one of the things that like I realized and was being told by people who were reading the script, like the original versions of the script, I had it like super. It was almost like monologue. It was almost like a play.
Oh yeah.
Which I loved. But like this woman who has dementia, like she's not going to be able to speak as fluently as the way that I had it like originally. So that I guess is the reason why there isn't any dialogue. She's also alone in the whole beginning of the film,
Yeah.
except for when the sister comes to visit her.
That makes sense. I wasn't
Yeah.
critiquing it. I
Going
just
back
wanna
to
know
no, but
why-
going back to
why
going back to
she-
continuity errors though. One of the reasons why there's not audio. Well, yeah, one of the reasons why there's not audio in like the Super 8 sequence, like the when they're younger, is because the little girl. If you pay attention to it, like the little girl when she's like pushing her sister back, she's saying the wrong name. None of us caught that on set.
Oh,
She's saying
really?
she's saying what her name is in the film, which is Gwyneth. She'll be like, "Stop it, Gwyneth." It's supposed to be "Stop it, Gretchen," but
Okay.
and then the other continuity error is at the end of the film at the hug, the lights, the Christmas lights in the background are still on, whereas they turned off.
We
So-
better watch out. You might be on that guy's TikTok page.
Yeah.
You know what? Throw me on there. Give me some-
Cinematic
give me some-
mistakes. Matthew Mayer,
There it is.
award winner filmmaker Matthew Mayer.
I mean, actually, I talked to Ryan about this. I think we were talking about people on. There's a few things I want to talk about, but one was like roles on set.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about a script supervisor. And I remember telling him that, and he goes, "What the fuck? You need a script super? What does a script supervisor do?"
They're
And I told
very
him,
important.
That's why I fucked up. I didn't have one on the set, and that's the biggest flaw that I had on this whole film is not having a script supervisor. Like, because a lot of the film, like maybe from like an objective point of view, like you might not see it right away, but a lot of the film between candles, hourglasses,
candles, dude.
sunlight, there's clocks, there's so many things that are
Oh,
like
clocks will fuck you up.
like that relied on
Clock.
continuity that not having a script supervisor, like we were able to get it done. Like my art people, Audra and Andrew, like were really good at, like I kept like saying like, let's be mindful of this, and they were like, we got you. But then you need someone in that script supervisor role for, especially for a film like this where continuity of just the various objects and props on set are like so key and elemental.
The candles,
story.
what's so funny because I pay attention to that shit.
Yeah.
And when I saw the candle there, I was like, dude, that is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like having to film because you're just watching this thing burn.
Yeah.
But it was more of like a centralized point in the film. So at least it's like important, like an emphasis, you know.
No,
But-
it's not
and
in
that,
the
I mean, that makes it
background. No,
more important to
100%.
even like keep an eye on.
But that's what I'm saying. This thing
Well, it's
burns.
easier to make it.
But this thing burns and it's slowly getting lower, and you have to cut back and forth. You have to be swapping out that candle so it's the same height. It
You gotta get a
can't
candle
burn.
guy. Where's
Yeah.
the candle guy?
The girl Audra was like, I kind of put her like in that role. I was like, you need to like keep
You're in charge of the
keep an
fucking
eye on the
candle.
candles.
Watch
'Cause
the
we had like
candle.
we had a box of like I don't know 12, 15, 20
Yeah.
candles that are all like different sizes, and you have to like it's a lot.
It's crazy how much like it takes. He said, what, 2 years ago, you were just thinking, like, brainstorming about the film.
Yeah.
And then you're shooting it, and then it's such a long process. 2 whole years. It's still not even completely finished.
Nah. And
I
it's not even like in my eyes, it's not perfect either.
And it's like, what, 13, 14 minutes long.
yeah.
Just imagine, like, the movie scheme, or even, like, an album musically. That takes forever.
This
Or
was
writing
shot
an
over
hour
4 days.
stand-up takes forever. It's just, like,
Yeah.
it's a grind.
Yeah.
One, I want to get into some questions and stuff and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
play a little game with you. But
We're going to play a little game.
I really loved.
I was trying to get a little creepy. Maybe I'll get a spot in the next movie.
in the sequel, yeah.
If you're doing, like, a 21 Jump Street or Ride Along,
A comedy would be
Cast
fun to
me.
approach. Comedy's
yo,
just so
I'm
hard
in
to
it
write.
if you do one.
Comedy's so hard.
He's a
to write.
comedian.
Yeah.
I'm in it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that comedies are usually like undervalued for like because you can go in like and the only thing that you're really focusing on is the humor, but I think like movies that like The Hangover is like such a good example of like
I was watching it yesterday.
a
it was on.
movie that is so well done
It's well written.
and just fucking hilarious. Like my mom loves The Hangover. Like we're going to Vegas on Sunday, and she sent us like songs the other day, like Ludacris and Usher, like. So like 5 more days, like yeah. I'm like like yeah,
Happens in
it's,
Vegas, stays in Vegas.
yeah,
But I was saying the one shot I really like. I love when ever you're very still in a film and then you go handheld.
yeah,
And when she runs out of the house,
yeah.
I was just like, oh shit, like it got real to
Yeah.
me. And there was a scene recently in are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, but I yeah, go on.
Well, no,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean,
I'm
just,
not.
He's not. But like, there was a recent, there was
Just gonna add that in there.
literally Obi-Wan just came out recently
Yeah.
on Disney Plus, and there was an amazing scene that they opened the show with, and it was a handheld lightsaber fight, and like, I haven't seen that in Star Wars at least recently, you know,
handheld.
and it was just it was
Yeah.
handheld, and like having the lightsaber battle be handheld was like a whole different thing to me.
Which is kind of shocking, like you like knowing film, like it's kind of shocking that the other films didn't incorporate handheld for like such like a moment that almost seems like handheld is kind of like a necessity.
like it was, you know, it was probably like on a steady cam, like it probably had some like
Yeah.
shakiness to it, but this one was like you could tell completely handheld, like chaos was happening in the
Yeah.
room, and it felt so different. So implementing a handheld shot, and I think that was the only one, or was there like
Yeah,
another
because
one?
I like the pro of handheld is that you save a lot of time.
Yeah,
not
100%.
having to- But I'm not a big handheld fan. But that moment is such like a crucial moment that needs it when she's running out of the house trying to find her sister. That it like it was a necessity
Yeah.
to like have it, and even like talking with the DP, like going back and forth, I was just like do I want to have this shot handheld? And you come to a point where you're like, all right, well, like yeah, you need to have it handheld.
It just adds so much different because like most of the time, like if you're watching on YouTube, right, you're in we're all cameras, they're on tripods, they're set, they're ready to
Yeah.
go. But having it handheld, you know, someone's literally holding the camera,
yeah,
and it just adds a shakiness to it, and usually it'll make you feel as though you're in the scene with the person, and it creates more like just urgency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot's going on, and you just feel the chaos. And for that, when she like discovers, you know, her sister passed, it's just like holy shit. Like it's like okay, cool. Like we're moving here.
Yeah.
So really, really dope stuff.
Thank you.
I'll
Appreciate it.
write the comedy script. And you
You
shoot it.
you let me know.
And you shoot it.
You
and
let
I'll
me
be in
know.
it. Do you have like a bunch of scripts like a library?
No, I actually have not written something in such a
Is
long
that something
time
that
because
directors
like
do? They write a
they
bunch of
tend to.
screenplays.
They'll usually have like what are called like back pocket scripts.
Gotcha.
But so like a couple of years ago, I wrote a feature length screenplay like one summer. Like just that's all like I did that whole summer was just write this script. And I really have not like touched it. So like I have that script, which there's like a different angle that I was told how to approach it and like turn it into like a different story than what it is and make it so much better. Like the idea is like brilliant, but I just have yet to like I don't have like the time to like
That's what
Features are
sucks.
tough. Yeah.
They're
Because like,
so
if he
long.
writes that script, he say he took his whole summer to write it. Time goes by a couple months. I don't love it anymore. It's like you spent your whole fucking summer.
Yeah,
I do
but-
all my jokes.
and that's one draft.
I've been
People
writing
usually
jokes for a
spend-
long time, and like I wrote shit like I spent hours writing this joke.
Yeah.
Never gonna use it. It's just like, bro, like, it's just a
Part of the
grind.
craft.
But
though.
sometimes you find those
part of the
later
beauty.
later along the
Yeah, you
later
can make
along
some
the line.
things in here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
We're gonna ask you some questions, some
Yeah,
film
yeah.
stuff. We're gonna just do a few here, but I'm a huge animation fan.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you? Do you like
I
animated films?
appreciate the art form. I
He
just
doesn't
never,
like it.
I
So
just-
you start
clear
off
answer.
with I appreciate
because
the
like
art,
I just never
but
like I don't think I've watched enough
Don't like it.
animated films in order to
Okay.
like Soul is one that I would like to watch.
Soul's great.
Yeah,
I
I,
like
like,
animated
I
films.
would love to
We
watch.
actually did I think we used to do movie reviews here on the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
when we first started out. Throwback, if you've been with us, and I think I remember, you know, whenever Pixar comes out with something new, it's just like I'm a huge fan of animation.
Yeah,
And just because I think the difference is like you can tell there's so many different stories you could tell that you can't tell in live action.
yeah,
And like Soul's an amazing example of that. Like once you watch the film and it's not for kids, like it is for adults. The purpose of the movie or like the log line is really about, you know, finding your purpose in life. like
Yeah.
as creatives, and even like Ryan and I, like we talked about it. It was like so eye opening.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Like, what is your purpose in life?
What the
And
fuck is your purpose?
like that's it's just mind blowing, and you're like, that's not.
It
for a
gets
kid.
it's deep. It's deep.
It's
Really?
a deep
It's
movie.
a deep
Yeah,
story.
I need to watch it.
But if you, so this is about animated films. Do you have a favorite? Like, is there anything that's just like a classic animated film to you?
He don't even like them.
He's got to like something.
What are
I feel like Finding Nemo like
Okay.
really like comes to.
Comes to mind.
I've never
Yeah.
seen Finding Dory.
I haven't seen
You
Finding
don't
Dory.
gotta see it.
No,
It's
it's
not
not-
worth
it's-
it.
Is there ever a time where the sequel's better than the original?
100%.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A lot of times.
Godfather 2.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars.
Toy
is
Story
one.
2, I think, is better by far.
Yeah, but would you say it's rare or no?
Yeah, it's definitely
is very rare,
I
yeah.
think there. and What's
Actually, you know what? Top Gun. People are saying that the new Top Gun is better than the first. And you know what? I agree with everything except for give or take the cinematography. I love the
Oh, really?
cinematography of the first one. But like granted, the cinematography of like the new one is very like it's all practical, which I guess the first one technically is too, but all practical, just like really like solid.
You
Like
have to
all
see the
throughout.
first Top Gun to see the new one.
It would make a lot more sense, but there are like
Well, I don't do a
Flat-
lot of things that make sense. So
there are like a lot of flashbacks to the first one.
I've
that,
heard you
like
don't
if
have to,
Yeah, you.
but-
I don't think you have to,
I'm
but
probably
like I
not
think
going
it
to.
makes it more sentimental and things make sense. Like there's a couple of things that they do. I'm not gonna say what they are. They're pretty small. Like if you don't realize it like right away, like you
Yeah.
won't get it. But there's a couple of things that they do in the action that mimics what they do in the first. That like
gotcha.
you don't need to see the first to
I might
like
see the
appreciate it,
first
but
one.
like
Yeah.
it's cool. You know,
I'm definitely gonna see that one in the movie theater.
you have to see it. in the
First
theater.
one,
the
debatable
sound
if I
is
watched it before.
the first one's on Netflix, which I think is genius because like a lot of films that are coming out with like a sequel or something tend to like take those films off of streaming platforms so that people will go and buy it or rent it and then go see it in
So
theaters.
that's not a Netflix decision.
What do
That's the Top Gun Studios decision.
That's probably a studio
So,
decision.
yeah,
They
Paramount,
both
I think it's
benefit from it.
Paramount. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's genius to do it
So
the
they
way
probably,
that they did it because then someone who
opens-
doesn't give a shit about Top Gun will be like, oh, well, it's on Netflix. I'll be watching something. I might as well watch this and then go see it in theaters.
It opens it up.
Yeah.
So they'll pay
right.
for that Netflix
Yeah.
spot because the new Top Gun's out.
So we hit Top Gun. You know, we talked about it a little bit. It is out in theaters now. Is there anything? We'll leave you with this. Is there anything in upcoming movie theater or upcoming movies that you are looking forward to? Is there anything like?
I want to see. He's
the-
asking Matt. I'm
what do you
answering the
wanna see?
question. Isn't the new Jurassic Park coming out?
Yeah.
it's
couple
coming out
week- couple
early, right?
weeks.
I want to see that.
Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I
That has
actually
so many freaking people in
I
it.
actually want to see the new Barbie movie
With
the Greta,
Margot Robbie?
Yeah, the Greta Gerwig
Barbie
movie.
movie.
There's a
Yeah.
Barbie movie which like I
You just want to see because Margot Robbie's hot.
that too, but I honestly could give three shits about.
We talk about
Barbie.
movies. He's just talking about hot actresses.
But like I'm curious like what they did with it. Like
yeah.
I just saw The Northman in theaters. We were talking about long takes earlier. That is like shot almost. It's very handheld and long take based. I thought the movie was awesome. Yeah, I don't think there's anything.
Adam
else I can
Sandler's
think of.
coming out with that
Oh,
new
yeah.
I
Philly
did see
movie.
that. Yeah.
You're a Sixers guy.
Yeah. Seth Curry's in
But
it.
you're not an Adam
Tobias
Sandler
Harris.
guy, it sounds like.
No. I am. It was a
Well,
second.
he's the
chance.
Justin
It was
Bieber
a
of
second
cinema,
chance.
so puts out bangers. I'm gonna see the new Adam Sandler. He shot in Philly.
It's going to be on Netflix too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it is a Netflix.
Oh, that's
movie.
dope.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Paul. We'll let you get in here a couple.
My last one is, I'm a big Marvel guy. I'm looking forward towards Thor: Love and Thunder. I just love
heard,
the
aren't
Thor
the Thor
films.
movies like the worst ones?
No, to the first two, dude, Thor Ragnarok, game changer. Taika Waititi, as a director, I think he is just ridiculously talented. And I think what's awesome about him is he does comedy so freaking well.
Yeah.
But he also he directed Jojo Rabbit,
Yeah.
and he literally starred in Jojo Rabbit,
Yeah.
and that wasn't his choice. Like, I mean, if you know Jojo Rabbit at all, it's basically the director stars as in the film. Well, I mean, we can bleep out that word, but he literally.
We're almost done without getting that
I know,
reference in.
no, but he the director literally tells a story during World War II, and he plays because no one else would play the character.
Yeah.
they just didn't want to be associated with that. And
Yeah.
he was so in it, just been like, I'm just telling the fucking story.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just do it. And he did it, and he plays it on a comedic level. Like, it's
Yeah.
very, funny. But
All right, here we go, Matt. Fuck, marry, kill. Marvel,
what?
Lord of the Rings, and Justice League.
That's a weird triple threat.
You're picking blockbuster
Justice
filmmaking.
League.
Do you even like
It's my
any of this
fucking game, Paul. I can do whatever the fuck I want to
Do
do.
you like any of this franchises at all?
Well, I don't know. It's
Marvel,
my
I ne-
game. I don't know why you're judging my game.
Marvel, I never got into. Like I tried watching. Like,
Just say you want to kill Marvel so I can
I was
leave
saying, when
happy.
you said fuck, marry, kill, and then you said Marvel, I'm like immediately I was like Marvel.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we're
But
killing
honestly,
Marvel, right?
like Justice League, I'd probably kill.
Yeah,
there's
fuck
not
them.
many films in the Justice League.
Batman.
So-
Batman's up there. Everybody's favorite movie is
Are
Batman.
you a Christopher
Returns.
Nolan fan?
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. Those Batman
Interstellar
films
is like one of my all-time favorites.
Fuck, marry,
are good.
kill.
Interception,
Margot
or
Robbie.
Inception.
Okay.
Inception.
All right.
Dude, I fucking love
He's
Inception.
just
I gotta
grabbing-
see Inception. 2 movies I gotta see is Inception and the one with Matt Damon when he's little.
That's terrible.
Shawshank Redemption.
Matt
Oh.
Damon's not in
He's not-
Shawshank.
Who's in that?
What?
Is that a good movie, Shawshank?
Oh, dude, it's one of my all-time favorites.
My
All
girl
right.
keeps trying to
It's
get
one of
me
my
on.
favorites.
If that doesn't sum up this movie episode for you, I don't know what does.
Fucking killing Marvel.
But Matt, we appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Congrats on
That-
the
hey,
awards.
thank you. Next time, I'll let you know what happens in Vegas.
Yeah.
Let's get the plug in for where you can see, where and when they can see your film.
Yeah, so I actually don't have those details. Just only so
We're
one-
killing Marvel. Fucking over.
So once the film gets hopefully added in some festivals, those will be
Be like a red carpet and shit.
depending on the festival. Yeah,
Depends. but
yeah. Not to like like the red carpet that you like think
Right.
of, but they
Yeah.
they have a red carpet.
Nice.
Probably like a black carpet.
Yeah. But when you have some details, let us know.
Yeah, yeah,
And
no,
We'll
I
shout you
definitely,
out on
yeah.
the show, and we'll shout you out on our Instagram.
Appreciate it.
But again, Matt, thank you for creating our logo. He's the designer for sure. And
I drew it out, so I mean.
but
Get
that's
a
it.
little bit credit over here.
That's it. As always.
Music, take us out. You know, fuck Marvel. My ass hurts so bad.